All right, so we are going to further examine understanding the compounding within a whole life insurance policy. So in our last video, in addition to the analysis, or I should say the overview, we looked at a 50-year-old male case study. So here, we're going to take a look at a 35-year-old male, and we are going to fund for a longer period of time. Come on, sometimes this board, man. There we go, much better. So, as usual, whenever we run an analysis, what we are going to look at, same company, product, health rating, MEC test, only difference in red here, base premium and PUA blend. So, does it have a difference on my net cash value? Yes, obviously, but the real thing is, looking at the compounding analysis, does having a higher base premium result in greater compounding? Or am I forced to pay in a lower PUA down the road? Which is not the case with me just saying it, but as usual, let's see it. So we will look at the dividends first. So, as usual, there we go. $50,000 per year for 30 years. $5K base premium, $45K PUA. $12,500 base premium, that is a 25-75 split, and then a 25K base premium, that is a 50-50 split. So what I'm most interested in this study is not the break-evens, not the long-term cash value and death benefit, which you'll see which one produces more, but what I'm interested in is the net compounding. So we touched on this topic a little bit in the last video where someone had reached out and asked that we address this, which is the saying of with a life insurance policy, if I give the policy $1 or the company $1, I get $3 back. Well, yes, because I'm compounding, but at the same time, I also gave them $1. So the net compounding is only $2, just to make that very clear. So cash value, there we go over time. Here's the column I want though, net compounding. First 2 years negative. The reason why, base premium. Remember in the beginning of the overview video, how base premium dollars work? Nothing in cash value in the beginning? All right, so what we're doing here at year 10, we are looking at a comparison. Because we always hear that the true compounding or power of the long-term growth in a life insurance policy is the base premium, or at least individuals ask us about that. And hey, I wanted to know too, so let's look at it. And this way I can make an educated decision. Is the true power of the compounding in a base premium? Well, I've got a higher base premium over here, and by year 10, when I look at my net compounding, meaning the cash value I paid in $50,000, it grew from $455 to $525. However, when I back out my payment of $50,000, the net growth over here was about $20,000. Lower base premium is $23,000. Okay. Time passes. Let's go 30 years down the road. We've got highlighted in orange the 20-year mark as well. Look at this. So this is a company, this is based off the dividend rates. Higher the base, look at that. The compounding, a little bit higher. Interesting, right? We touched on that in the overview video. It has to do with the surplus. This company has a much higher dividend rate than what we looked at with the 50-year-old male. And again, we've got full details, illustrations, all the software is directly from the insurance carrier in our agent training program. So if you're in the business and you would like that, that'll certainly help provide more details in that respect. But the higher surplus is why this is illustrating a higher net compounding effect right here. Here's the thing I look at though, because that looks great, but if I'm interested in the maximum cash value and death benefit, what gives me that? Not much of a difference here, but the example on the left gave me more money from start to finish. Now, we shut the funding down on these. We looked at a reduced paid up on all of them to keep things equal. And if we look at this long term, so again, the name of the game is maximum cash value upfront and long term. We're not going to sacrifice long-term performance on these policies, or long-term compounding if we can prevent it, compared to the 25-75 to the 50-50. So $125,000 difference long-term, significant upfront. And in my opinion, and this is just me from a business owner perspective, as I invest in really two things, business, and then we have some commercial real estate, but the main thing is a cash value life insurance policy. I love it, how we can position money there, what you can do with it, the tax benefits, all that good stuff. But what I am most interested in is, how do I get the greatest overall return? And that's investing in my business. Real estate's great as well. The business is a little bit more exciting to me, how you can push it forward and such and grow it. Point being, the returns in the business and in real estate are much higher than what I will receive in a life insurance policy. This is a great place to position money, use it to help finance everything. My point, I've got access to more upfront, so I can accelerate the speed of my business faster because I have access to more capital. Especially in the early years, if we're starting a business, even if we're not in the early years, the more capital I have to infuse or inject into it, my business coach calls it throwing jet fuel on the fire to really get things propelling forward. That's the key. And then he relates money to the jet fuel. That way you can throw it on there and just whoosh, watch the fire go up. Not that you want to blow anything up. Point being, it just grows faster. So here we go. This is the dividend rate. Let's look at the guaranteed values. That's always good to look at because, again, and this is a great way for anyone to set expectations properly, is if I'm going to purchase a policy, do I want to purchase it based off the guarantees or the non-guarantees? The guarantees, that's going to set expectations, by the way. And also, by the way, if you're in the business, looking at the guaranteed values is a great way to forecast if a mech will ever happen. We've seen individuals with different design policies, if it's a 1090, 4060, whatever it might be, they were told it wasn't going to mech, and then it mechs down the road, and the client's like, what the heck? And the agent's like, well, it said it wasn't going to mech on the illustration. Well, the issue is dividends came down, the death benefit did not appreciate at the same rate, which has an impact on the mech testing long term, without getting into all the details. My point to it, if you look at a conservative death benefit appreciating scale, the guarantees is as conservative as you can get. That's a great way to forecast it. Now, you do need to do a bit more homework, but that's a nice way to get you 80% there as far as designing things right with whatever blend you're going to look at. And we've got details on that in our agent training program. So, time passes. What do we see here? Similar story. So interesting, isn't it? In bold here is the net year-to-year compounding. And we did this kind of deliberately here. I'm at 1.981, and it grows that year to 2,073,000, just about 100K. It's a little over, it's 92,000. If I were to just look at that growth that year. Look, I gave him 50, and I almost got 100 back. No. I paid in 50. My net growth was 42. You got to be honest when you look at the cash value growth on a policy. Don't make it sound better than it is. Net difference over time. Very similar story to that of the dividends. Point being, a lot of information here. That was our 30-year fund. The main purpose to that was to validate that you can pay into a policy for a long period of time, and the PUA yields compounding as well. It's really the overall cash value in the policy that's getting the compounding, but it's not just the base premium that gets this oh so favorable and super hidden compound growth over time. No, when you look at an actual policy and the numbers, break it down. This way, we don't hear something and say, okay, let me question it. No, what's the best overall method to design a policy so I can see it, guaranteed, non-guaranteed, and then I can make an educated decision. So as always, hope this one was helpful. If you have questions or would like to see any specific scenarios, let us know. This whole case study came from someone reaching out. A friend of mine. I like his approach on the business and everything, but that's where all of this came from. So if you have questions, reach out. We're always happy to create videos from our listeners and subscribers. We'll talk to you soon. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.